Everything starts with an idea, whether it's inspired or completely out of the blue. Your favorite song, movie, device, appliance, all ideas that were put into action. But that's a key word, action. The action behind those ideas sponsor what you and I enjoy, the convenience in our day-to-day life, the microphone that I'm using, the phone that I'm reading my notes off of. All ideas. That's the topic of discussion of today's episode. All of these ideas, the things that people can put their minds to, are amazing. It makes me think of in the Bible, Psalm 139. King David, he said, I praise you because in an awe-inspiring way, I am wonderfully made. So the human brain, we were created to, do cool stuff. We were made in God's image. But what am I wearing? The hat that I'm wearing, the jacket that I'm wearing, all came from a human mind, a creative mind. And once again, as I always say, that is what the Cool Hand Podcast is about. The Cool Hand Podcast is for the creators. Now, I don't make music. I don't design clothes, but I appreciate music. I appreciate movies. I appreciate clothes. I appreciate the special effects. And especially getting into this podcast, I have a new respect for editing. It's not easy. I do the most basic edits, and I'm like, all right, y'all gonna have to live with it because it's not easy. It's a real task. Now, recently, my friend and I, we took the drive down to Atlanta, Georgia, and we went to go to the Castillet pop-up. If you recall, if you watched the Cool Hand Podcast, I interviewed Pizzo, aka Chris. Interviewed him, and this was before he came out with the Castillet brand. He was talking about what he was working on and what he had in the makings. And eventually it is what we know as today as Castillet. Now, he had a pop-up shop in Brooklyn or something like that. One that I didn't make. It was actually, I think Brooklyn is a closer drive than Atlanta. But he had another one. And I had some family down there, and AKA a place to stay. So we took the 10-hour and 50-minute drive down there this past weekend, November 5th, I believe it was. And I wanted to go down there to support. Yeah, I have people down there. I used to live down there, but I mainly came there to support. And I have an appreciation for what not only he does, but what other designers do, what other musicians do. The idea, and putting that idea, taking it from your mind to maybe a draft, a write-up, maybe a sample, in this case with clothes and so on and so forth, to turning it into a brand, a profitable brand, turning it into a pop-up shop, spending your time, money, and resources into making something happen for someone else's enjoyment, and not only your own personal I guess the word is satisfaction, because you get satisfaction out of people enjoying your work. That's why we promote ourselves, right? Isn't that why we promote ourselves? Because you want other people to like what we have. Some of it may be a little bit of ego. Some people just want the attention and stuff like that. But we do like having people commend us, or having more so people appreciating what we do and them finding enjoyment in it. So we go down there, me and my homeboy, my dog, my brother, Crowded Places. If you watch the Cool Hand Podcast, you know that name. So we go down there, we meet another designer. The shirt in the background over there is by Volare Toro. Volare Toro beat the meta. So I'm gonna keep rocking with that. I met Johnny, Fly Rockin' Johnny, on Instagram, and we went out to eat, had a good time, chopped it up. Good brother. The next day we go down to the Castillet pop-up. Now check this out. I'm just gonna give a quick little recap. I didn't know really what to expect. I expected to see some like real fly brothers and sisters, and we pull up. And I'm greeted by some of the guys, some people that I'm familiar with. Sonny, shout out to Sonny from coming out of North Philly, I believe. We pull up. I see Sonny, and this is how I know he's real. I was telling my man, when we, the next day driving home, I'm like, this is how I know the people who is like not real, but like you meet somebody on the internet, you see somebody on the internet, social media, whoop, whoop, even in my case, interviewing them. Go ahead and check out that interview while you're at it. It's called Always Sunny in Philadelphia. So he hops out his wit with his people. Immediate love, immediate dap up. And I'm like, okay, he's real. Because you don't act funny like we ain't never speak before. You ain't like, you know what I mean? Just awkward. People's internet persona isn't always what doesn't translate to the real world. Meet him, meet some other people. Shout out to Ian, shout out to Mac, shout out to Dev, all of them guys. And went chopping it up with the people. Mac got the camera out. Woo woo. We go in. And it's a great atmosphere. You got the music playing. I see somebody setting up art. That somebody is Winston, who Pizzo mentioned in our interview. So I finally got to meet the legendary Winston. And also LDV, Love Determines Values. Now, I was expecting to meet my man Lance. You can check out that interview as well. I met Lance, and he's another one who I can tell just from I talked to him on the phone, and we did the interview that he's like a genuine fellow. So he wasn't there, but his wife was. Once again, I'm gonna address her by her Instagram name. I'm gonna call her Sunflower Faye. She was in there holding down the LDV brand. So, and this is one thing that I respected about this pop-up shop as well. So it wasn't, okay, it's the Castillet pop-up shop, but also it features other people. In my terminology, you're putting other people on, not giving them a shot or anything like that, but you're giving other people an opportunity to display what they do. Okay, cool. So that's one thing that I got to shout out to. So shout out to Winston, shout out to LDV, Lance, Sunflower Faye, and Pizzo. I go there, I'm seeing hats on the wall. I'm seeing a little rack kind of similar to this one. And it has, not similar to that, but it's a little rack like that. And it has some merch on there. It has some merch. And the vibes is good. The vibes is good. I met some more people from Instagram. Shout out to Saul. Shout out to Shad. Shout out to all of these people who are doing their thing. I could give a lot of shout outs all day, but it was good energy. It was good vibes and everything. And I can see that Pizzo, he was occupied. He was busy. He was like, you can look in that man's eyes and you can see that he's thinking about something. But this is the main thing of this podcast isn't to just recap the event, because it was a pop-up shop. Like, what do you really expect except merch and stuff like that? But more so what it took. Now, I want to holler at Pizzo. I want to talk to him about this. So we're going to have to set something up and see what was going on behind the scenes, behind the pop-up shop. But once again, what I started out with, how humans have the ability to think, to come up with something, and putting those ideas into action. Now, I often talk about, on the music side, I recently had an episode unboxing a vinyl. This vinyl back, look at me, over here, the Somewhere Soon vinyl, my homeboy put that out. And I talk about how he spent his time, money, and resources on doing something that is not profitable for him. It's not. It's a passion. It's a passion. Renting a venue. The production of a product. Now, because I'm not in the fashion world, I'm not on no Devil Wears Prada time. I don't know what all goes into it. I know you have to get samples. I know there's trial and error. Check this out. First of all, this is some good coffee. Second of all, he got coffee mugs, Castillet coffee mugs. I don't know everything that goes into this. So I respect the creators. I want to give a big shout out to Christian, aka Pizzo. I want to give a big shout out to the creators. I met so many people who do other things. I met my long lost brother, Q. My name is Q. His name is Q. That's my brother, because there's not too many of us. We got the same name. There's not too many of us. You don't meet too many Quentins out there. He does photography. I met, I'm not going to remember bro's name right now, but he put together a reel in a day. Shout out to Mac. Mac, this dude named Mac. I call him Mick Velli. That's how I read his Instagram name. But he was taking pictures, doing all sorts of photography. He had them pictures uploaded and on his website within 24 hours. It might have been within 12. Within 12. So many people in the building with creative minds, and I wish I was able to talk to everybody. And it's a beautiful thing, you know. It's a beautiful thing to see people, especially as one of Jehovah's Witnesses, seeing other people like myself who have creative outlets and are able to share it because it's inspirational. What happens when you see other people who may be like-minded, who may be like you in a way or two, doing something, it may inspire, it may push you to do something else. It may push you to make that idea that's in your mind come to life. And that's what it's all about. So I have this Castillet fitted on. Now I had the first one from the first drop, but I bought the size that I wore in 2008. What do I mean by that? Well, think about the size of hats in the early 2000s and 2008. Snapbacks weren't back yet. Snapbacks were not back yet. And I had the big Tay Rock Reed Dollars fitted. And I'm like, well, this is the size I remember wearing on a fitted tip. Let me go ahead and get a 7 5/8. I do not have a 7 5/8 head. So this time I copped the fitted that was my size and fits me pretty well, and I'm rocking it now. I got the shirt on. I got the you know what? Things are reflected on the camera. So I'm not that dumb. I don't claim to be the smartest, but as I'm like looking at the camera, I'm doing like the opposite of everything. So I have the Castillet shirt. It has the logo on the back, or it says Castillet on the back. I bought that as well. You can clearly see I have my coffee mug. And this is the thing, like, it's quality. You can't see the shirt all the way here, but if you were there, you know that the shirt, it has a great neck. It fits close to the neck. And it's a great design. I want to holler at Pizzo. We're going to link up and we're going to talk about this because I want to know everything that was going through his mind. And that's pretty much that with that. So shout out to all the creators. I want to, I'm going to go down the line. I'm wearing John Geiger. Once again, I did it again. I'm wearing John Geiger. He's a little bigger on the designer tip, but shout out to John Geiger. Shout out to Valare Toro, Beat the Meta. Shout out to Castillet. Shout out to Rituals Clothing. He's from Pittsburgh. Shout out to Rituals Clothing. Shout out to Colin, who we're going to link up with and do an interview. He has his own brand. Shout out to Capto, coming out of Connecticut along with Colin and him. Shout out to Victoria, who did the artwork for Somewhere Soon in the back over there. Shout out to Crowded Places. Shout out to Tavon Casey, Michael Blaine, King Keese. Everybody who's doing something. Everybody who's doing something. And I'm not trying to like go down a long list and start missing people. But shout out to the creators, the people who have the confidence to put their work out there, because it's not easy. Because when you put something out there, you end up facing criticism. You end up getting feedback that you may not have wanted. Some people might just not like what you do, but you do it, you put it out there, and ain't no shame in your game. Shout out to the creators. Look at me fumbling my words. This is the Cool Hand Podcast, something you got to deal with. Easy.